Hey everyone, I apologize if this goes off prematurely. It's been doing that at times, I don't know why. But anyway, welcome to my video review of Sonic issue 277, which I just got today. Now I know Mega Beatman has said that he originally was going to review this or post his review on this past Saturday, but due to the fact that not everybody had it yet, he's decided to wait till tomorrow now, or maybe later tonight. Now, I don't understand that really. All I could probably think of is perhaps there's more copyright reasons, I don't know. Maybe there was a delay in his area, I don't know. But overall though, getting to the issue itself, I thought the issue was good. It was a nice reintroduction of Lupe, and apparently you could tell that she, Sonic and Sally, and I've said this before in my animated girl profiles confidential, and in my other video where I talked about the redesign and de-aging of Lupe. Basically, I think it looks like she is basically the same age as Sonic and Sally now. In other words, she's the same age, she's the same size, so that should pretty much give you an idea of, of how old she's being presented. And again, like I said in those videos, I can understand how some people pretty much feel that that's not exactly a good thing sometimes, because they're so used to her being taller, statuesque, if not a little older. And I can understand being used to that, but I think what Ian was going for here was the fact that he probably saw what was going on with other franchises, like let's say TMNT on Nickelodeon, probably saw what they did with April and several other characters, and said, you know what, that works good because at least that character's growing up with the Turtles now, it makes more sense. It's, she's around them as a teenager and not an adult. Let's do the same thing with Lupe, and that's probably what happened. Now I'm sure let's check it on Sunday. Now I'm sure Ian Flynn will come out on his message board, and someone might quote it on several other forums and say, "Hey, she's a little older and all that." He might come out and say that. Not saying he will. But right now, from what I can tell, she's about the same age as Sonic and Sally, which some could say is a good thing. Some could say that. The story overall, I thought, was decent. I thought it was good, like I say, a good reintroduction. You could definitely tell that they took elements from Sonic SatAM, because the Thunder Zone, the Thunder Hill Zone, I think, or the Thunder Plains Zone, what was it called? I think it was the Thunder Hill, or no, Thunder Plains. The Thunder Plains Zone, or Thunder Plains Zone, you could tell that they took that concept from the SatAM episode Cry of the Wolf. You can definitely see that, because if you remember right, if anybody's seen Cry of the Wolf, the way they destroy the Doomsday Pod finally is they take it into the Thunder Valley, into the valley of all the lightning and the thunder. And Sonic basically has to chase him through that until he's able to get out of there, and boom, the thing gets fried. No, I'm just trying to check on my dog. She's right over here. But like I said, boom, the thing gets fried. Like I said, the Doomsday Pod gets fried. I apologize, I gotta get the dog in here. But like I say, basically the thing gets fried. So anyway, that's apparently where they got that inspiration for the way they destroyed the E100 Towie, or Tui, or yeah, TAU, TUI, E1000 or E100, whatever it was called. That's how they were able to destroy it, by basically taking a page out of Cry of the Wolf and having the lightning and the thunder basically be the cause of its destruction. Now, they did have some good characterization, a good character development with the other characters like Bunny and Sally. You know, you have Sally being like, you know, Sonic, this isn't how the plan's supposed to go, and Bunny's like, well, when is the last time he's ever followed a plan? And Sally's trying to be like, well, he did when we, she's trying to come up with some time he did. And then, you know, in the end, she's trying to basically figure out, you know, when he did. She's trying to come up with an idea of when he did to kind of prove to Bunny, yeah, he has followed the plan, but, you know, she can't figure out the time. She can't remember the specific time and everything. And the comedic part about this is you have a lot of the bad things. She's got one of her blades up and it's flying right into it. It's like, you know, she's just trying to explain it. It's like, here comes another one. That's it with that one. Overall, nice little fun comedic story development. And in the end, again, they do defeat the E100 Towie. I think that's what it's called. They do defeat it again by sending it, faking it, sending it into the lightning storms and all that. And basically, the way they do this, they do the chain ring, if you will. And what happens is Chip jumps off of Sonic, jumps on top of Loop's head, tells her to duck, and then as Sonic, causes the E100 machine to go into the lightning storms, Loop pulls back on the chains to pull Sonic out of the storms himself, so he's not electrified. And in the end, they win. They end up beating the machine. They, along with Loop and her wolf pack. Buddy's like, hey, Buddy basically, I guess, comedically kind of says, hey, wasn't that as good? Basically, Bunny asked, asked Sally, well, wasn't that as good as your plan would have been? And Sally's coming up with, Sally basically is like, yeah, but I don't, basically Sally's like, what does Sally say? Let me see, trying to make sure here. Bunny's basically asking, well, wasn't that just as good as your plan? And Sally answers, well, it was certainly more dangerous and reckless. And then you have Nicole butt in and say, oh yeah, just as dangerous and reckless as you going into the digital world to fight Phage on your own and everything. And she, Nicole starts pointing out what she had done, and Sally just shuts Nicole's portal, because she's holding the handheld, and Sally just shuts the portal down. They're going like, okay, that's enough. I get it. Basically Nicole points out that, yeah, Sonic's thing was, does concur that yes, what Sonic did was dangerous and reckless, but was it any different than what Sally did in Spark of Life by going in and facing Phage on her own, or trying to, and basically using the same tactic? And Sally again, shuts, like I said, she shuts Nicole down. No, she doesn't shut her down. She just closes the top on the handheld down. Alan and Bunny's just giggling in the background right there. And Sally's like, yeah, well, can't argue with results. And Bunny has to reassure Nicole that, hey, don't worry. Sally's going to find out that she's not acceptable when it comes to this kind of stuff and everything. I think that's what she says. Oh, she says this basically she points out that Oh, she basically points out that Sally won't. Bunny basically, kind of assures Nicole that Sally won't risk anybody's life but her own, and that one day she's going to figure out she's not an acceptable casualty either. In other words, Sally's got to figure out one day that she may have to sacrifice herself to save somebody. Or she may have to do something reckless again to save somebody, which could cause casualty. And of course, Nicole double negatives it, but does concur. Now we do get some nice bonding moments between Lupe, Sally, and Chip, and Bunny and Sonic and everything. And we do get a flashback, basically a retooling of Lupe's origin of how things happened with her, how she, came to be as she is. So we get that. We basically find out that the freedom fighters are a little surprised that someone that they had worked with before, because Sonic acknowledges how they worked in the past before. We're kind of surprised that she was on the list of Gaia Guardians, Gaia Key Guardians, and we also find out that these temples that Eggman has been going after, some of these temples are actually decoys. And some of these temples that Eggman's been going after are actually decoys, and that nobody really knows where the real location is except for the Guardians. Except, for Lupe and any of the Guardians. Basically, Lupe points out that her ancestors made sure to create these kind of decoys all over, so that if anybody tried to get to the real power inside the temples, they would find nothing. So basically, after a brief explanation that after a brief explanation of what's going on, of exactly basically a brief explanation of why Lupe and the others have always been raiding certain areas to make Eggman think they're important areas, but they're not. Basically trying to throw him off. Chip ends up finding the decoy egg prison that crashed. If you remember, in one of the last issues before the Worlds Unite crossover, the egg prison decoy that took off with the emerald, Chip ends up finding that, but there's no emerald. There's no emerald, so basically they pretty much figure that if it's not there, it's still somewhere in the area. So they all agree that, okay, we've got to find this, but we also got to get the Gaia keys. So what happens is Sally and Bunny decide to go after the emerald or search it. Lupe says she will have somebody look around, one of her pack members look around, maybe kind of see if they've seen any, kind of report if they've seen anything. So Bunny and Sally go after possibly where, go towards one of the false temples that the Egg Army has control of right now, but with the possibility that the emerald might be there. Well, Sonic goes with Lupe and Chip to go get the Gaia keys out of the temples. So overall, that ends the first story, and I have to admit the first story again was a pretty good one with some decent character development. I really liked it. Like I said, I really liked it. I kind of, really got a kick out of it. The character development and interaction was really good. I thought it was nice. There seemed to be a little bit of a flirtation, though, between Lupe and a little bit of a flirtation in one panel with Lupe and Sonic. When Sonic points out that they never knew she was a Gaia Guardian, and she kind of it looks kind of flirtatious, maybe that's just me, where she's like, well, you never asked. So, I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons he de-aged her, maybe to throw out the possibilities that now she could be a candidate. I don't know, if you get my drift. But overall, decent first story. And then we get into the second story, Ori, Hidden Cost. And the second story was pretty good as well. There is a comedic moment where they show up. They do acknowledge that the temple that the egg army is controlling is a false temple, but if the emerald is in there, it may not be easy to get out. So, they basically come up with an idea to try to get to it, but they notice that they have a bit of an obstacle, which is kind of a spear, kind of like an invisible gate with an alarm and everything. So Nicole basically figures out, okay, she could disrupt it wirelessly without trying to get the alarms to go off. So she basically really quickly gets Sally and Bunny to go right through as soon as she says, okay, ready, go. And you have this one panel, a very comedic panel where you have Sally and Bunny just like racing real quickly right through before it goes off, so they can get through the obstacle to try to help them out. So again, they figure out okay. So basically, they figure that if the emerald's there, they gotta look around. So they decide to split up. Sally goes east, Bunny goes west. And at the same time, we have the sisters of Clove and Cassie in there, trying to deduce what happened to the E100. And then they get information that something's going on, that something's glitchy, something is wrong with the radar, or something's kind of glitching in and out. Basically, they get information from one of their soldiers that something's going on outside, so Clove goes out to investigate. Cassie wants to go with her, but she's like, no, Cassie, I can take care of this myself. I know I could depend on you to help me out, but I need to do this on my own. You need to stay here and take your treatment. So apparently there's something going on. So apparently there's something there where before she leaves, she tells her sister to take her treatment, which is like, makes you wonder. So you could kind of tell that there's definitely a loving, caring connection between both sisters. So in the end, Clove goes out to investigate. And Cassie still wants to know what's going on, and one of the soldiers who's playing video games is like, or playing a game that obviously Cassie has played. It's like, it was probably just a glitch. She kind of jokes around with the soldier saying, well, if you're going to just sit here playing video games, I would expect you to beat my high score. And he points out he's only gotten to a certain rank, which is A, and she's like, it goes to triple S. So instead of staying there like she's supposed to, she goes off to investigate herself. Go off to investigate another situation that apparently has gotten their attention, or basically investigate the glitch that they found. And she basically points out in a green narrative box that her sister shouldn't be the only one to have all the fun. So basically she goes off when she's supposed to stay without taking her treatment, apparently, to see what's going on. Now she's leaving, we do get a picture of Sally kind of sneaking around and Clove standing in a silhouette right above her. Now, next page up, we see Bunny has an emerald radar, kind of a la Knuckles out of Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2. She ends up running into Cassie. They kind of stop brawling and everything. Cassie kind of does this with the tongue and all that, and Bunny ends up shooting at her. Because I guess she made fun of her, or she knows she's an egg boss because she's got the outfit on. And as they're fighting, with each other, Cassie kind of notices and kind of complains that lasers, she's got lasers, like, she notices Bunny's got lasers and all that, and she's like, man, I wish I would have asked for those. So anyway, they end up tussling and tackling each other, kind of fighting a little bit, squabbling, until